Hey everybody, it's your boy SergDragon, and welcome back to another edition of the Heavens Monsters podcast. With me today is Xavier Hill.
Once again, MVP is in the ring, so that can only mean one thing. Big things popping, little things stopping. Sit back, relax, and enjoy the view, because the Heavens Monsters podcast is for people better than you.
Today we are going to do a 4-part episode, but this will be the first one. Considering me and T-Money couldn't do it this week because of, well, on my part, I had a lot on my plate and I missed on Monday Night Raw because my cable box broke. So with that said, we're going to do Monday Night Raw and on February 17th and February 19th of NXT. That's what this video is going to be about. Let's go. So, at the beginning of the show, we would be introduced with, it was going to be, I thought it was Seth Rollins first. No, that's the main event. We would have Randy Orton stating what he did to Matt Hardy and what he did to Edge. When all of a sudden, Matt Hardy, in his injured state with the neck brace on his neck, he comes out saying that there is no excuse for what he has done and that he deserves an answer. Sadly to say, all he gets for his trouble is yet another assault. Another time when we think Randy Orton is showing mercy, he comes back and deals another bit of damage, this time on the steel steps.
Really?
Yeah. Damn, dude. You know what sucks? The crowd was saying one more time. And he gave it to him. Some people were quietly just saying third time. We're saying one more time. Like, really? Next up, we have... Let me brighten it for you.
Next up, we have Aleister Black versus Eric Rowan.
First time ever.
Yep.
Good challenge for him.
We should know by now that Aleister Black is not a man who makes idle threats, and yet it was still somewhat surprising to see the former NXT champion who has vowed to fight anyone and everyone in the locker room not just hang with the monstrous Eric Rowan, but defeated him in a decisive fashion.
Is it weird?
Rowan, of course, didn't make it easy for Black. The big man's opponents in the two-wag trophy gauntlet match.
That's in Down Under, in the Super Showdown.
Yep. Should be sweating right about now. Nevertheless, the Dutch Destroyer countered Rowan's fist with knees and feet, narrowly escaping the Iron Claw and dropping Rowan with a pair of black masses, and one didn't quite get the job done. Black's endgame still remains somewhat unclear, as he had nothing to say after this victory. Then again, it certainly seems like he said all he needed to in the ring.
Mm-hmm. With Aleister Black, we would also see AJ Styles, R-Truth, Bobby Lashley, and I think Rusev, alongside the United States champion Andreas, I can't pronounce it. And I don't know how he's going to compete if he's still injured. That's going to be interesting. It's going to be this Thursday on the 27th, so look out for that on the WWE Network. Next up, we have Charlotte Flair addressing NXT Women's Champion Rhea Ripley. That she's going to humble her at WrestleMania. Which is kind of true because the first time ever defended at WrestleMania will be the women's NXT title. So the women get the dibs before the men's. And there will be a NXT takeover the night before on Saturday of WrestleMania. I gotta look that up and see which one it was. Speaking of R-Truth.
Oh my goodness.
You okay?
R-Truth versus Riddick Moss and Mojo Rawley in a triple threat match for the 24/7 championship.
Yeah.
R-Truth made the 24/7 championship famous through a series of increasingly zany wins and losses. Mojo Rawley tried to revolutionize it by becoming the first ever fighting 24/7 champion. Riddick Moss seems to be stalking out a middle ground, and surprisingly, it's working for him. The current champion, having narrowly escaped an ambush at the Funko Factory, defeated Truth and Mojo in the triple threat match to retain his title, pinning Mojo to win the match and fleeing through the crowd to keep his reign safe. While Moss remained out of reach, however, Truth, who channeled childhood hero John Cena with a 5-knuckle shuffle during the match, merely dropped Mojo as a final note to the confrontation. A reminder of sorts as to who set the pace in the 24/7 chase, whether he holds the title or not.
Yeah, it was Mojo Rawley who got pinned because Mojo had R-Truth ready for the pinfall, but here comes Moss getting a drop on him. And then running like a Dickens because he knows the fact that the terms of the 24/7 title, defend anywhere, anytime, is still applied after the match was over. So he's out of there. And Mojo gets in freaking R-Truth's face saying it's his fault. Well, first trouble is he gets scissors kicked. And I was about to cover this one, and I'm like,
oh,
nah.
This next match.
I saw that's why he's here. That's why he's here.
That's why I'm here. Drew McIntyre versus my boy, Montel Vontavious Porter, MVP.
Yeah.
What's it going to take to stop Drew McIntyre from turning Suplex City into Claymore Country? We can cross Paul Heyman's speeches and angry rivals off that list, as Brock Lesnar's challenger merely batted away a verbal volley from the Beast Advocate in an attempt by Montel Vontavious Porter to stop McIntyre in his tracks. Heyman's usual
boisterousness
was certainly
That's weird.
Subdued by McIntyre's continued defiance, but MVP, who Heyman introduced, was straight up silenced by Claymore despite a fiery attempt at retribution after getting beat down during last week's MVP's VIP lounge. Now, while accomplished, MVP is not Brock Lesnar, but McIntyre's instant victory is no longer an isolated incident, and that spells worry for the Beast. As Heyman knows better than anybody, the one thing more dangerous than someone who knows they're good is someone who backs it up.
See, this is WWE, but they didn't cover how the match was won. So first off, we would have MVP playing the role of the heel once again. Even though he said that he was done, he's here with a match. I know you're happy that was a lie. Because with MVP, he was actually telling Drew McIntyre that he's not going to cheap shot him. He's going to make sure he sees it coming. And then as soon as he turns around, he hits him in the back of the head with the mic. What the? What? Oh, come on, man. You just lied out of your ass. Come on. In which case, after that, they have themselves a little moment where the match goes on. And of course, Drew McIntyre gets the drop on him and gets the countdown. 3, 2, 1. Claymore from the
kick.
Yeah, from the side. Bam! Hit an MVP for the 1, 2, 3. I was just thinking that way. Oh yeah, that actually sounds good. Not for you. You like MVP.
Yeah.
He's a resident of Houston, Texas, for the record. He moved here long ago. Next up, we have Becky Lynch calling out and making a statement to her opponent. Well, actually, not even her opponent yet. I thought it was going to be an opponent. Nope, she's going to earn it. She makes a statement to Shayna Baszler, and Shayna shows up on the monitor, getting herself in trouble for saying shit on live television when she wasn't supposed to. She got a fine for that, of course. And would be interesting enough, she says that she's going to take part in the Elimination Chamber Raw Women's Title #1 contendership. So we have confirmed that 6 women will go in to the Elimination Chamber this March 8th and will fight for a chance at WrestleMania against Becky Lynch. Those competitors are all 3 members of the former Riot Squad: Ruby Riott, Liv Morgan, and Sarah Logan. Oh no, I said it right. I'm about to say Sonya Deville.
Yeah, you got it right.
As well as Natalya, and I'm thinking the other woman. Shoot. I can't think of the other woman. Because I know the last one, of course, is Shayna Baszler. So look forward to that. I'm trying to think, who the heck is going to be the 6th woman? I know it's somebody on Raw. It's not Alexa Bliss, it's not Nikki Cross, it's not her, it's not Carmella, it's not that, it's not Sasha Banks, it's not, who's on Raw? Not Dania Brooke. I don't know. It's not Lana. She'd be torn apart, especially with Shayna Baszler in there. I'm drawing a blank. Damn. Oh well, when that comes up, it comes up. Anyway, next up would be
Bobby Lashley and Angel Garza versus Rusev and Humberto Carrillo.
Oh.
Whether Angel Garza and Bobby Lashley's impromptu tag team constituted a double date with Selena Vega and Lana is up for debate.
Selena Vega. She's married to Aleister Black. She's telling him saying it's not a date. We're just business associates.
Either way, it was a rousing success as the former NXT Cruiserweight Champion and 2-time Intercontinental Champion stole a win from Rusev and Humberto Carrillo in a furious paced battle on Raw. The hits kept on coming and Garza stole both the show. He got a peck on the cheek from a smitten fan, and the match pinning Rusev with a handful of tights. With Rusev and Lashley poised to reignite their rivalry in a 2-wag trophy match, the Bulgarian Brute has a chance to pick himself off the mat yet. For Garza, however, the momentum is strong and the ceiling is nowhere in sight.
Yeah, I'm still running through my head. Who the hell is the 6th woman? Oh, wait. Is it one of these 2 women? Oh, there they go. I think it might be Asuka or Kairi Sane that's going to go into the Elimination Chamber. That would actually be pretty good. Because they are on Raw. And they're the Tag Team Women's Champions. Which has not been defended since the draft. You notice that? Come on! Come on!
Put the tag team titles on the line.
The women need to battle. In which case, this is the part I was talking about. We would have the women, one half of the women's tag team champions, Kairi Sane, going up against Natalya. And sadly, thanks to the outside interference of Asuka, kicking the top side of the head of Natalya, Kairi Sane would win by a countout. So, this is interesting enough. Because see, look, there they are too. 2 of the women are getting interviewed for the Elimination Chamber. It would be none other than Sarah Logan and Liv Morgan. So with Ruby Riott also on the team, I gotta say, yeah, it might be Asuka or Kairi Sane in the Elimination Chamber. Cause it's only one of them, because the other ones are Natalya and Shayna Baszler. So it can only be one. And since Asuka did become it makes sense. Asuka did become a women's champion, so it might be Kairi Sane's turn. Oh my lord, do you want to call this? It's the main event.
Yep. The Fat, Eric Cartman, CM Punk, Canadian Bacon, Kevin Owens, and the Viking Raiders crash Seth Rollins' sermon.
How the hell does he have? He's got his own T-shirt in the freaking looking church glass looking thing.
Church? What?
What do you call that glass that you see in the churches? What do you call it? It's portrait glass.
Portrait glass.
Is that some pretty looking glass? But they made one of Seth Rollins as if he was holding a church. He's the Messiah of Monday Night Raw.
Seth Rollins revealed his gospel on Raw.
Stained glass? Okay.
Yeah. Right. Seek out the weak, rehabilitate the flawed, and eradicate the compliant, but the Monday Night Messiah kicked off the phase 2 of his movement. His movement may have been slightly premature. Rollins found himself waylaid during his first ever sermon by the same superstars he claimed to have vanquished, with the Viking Raiders storming his pulpit and kicking off a brawl with Murphy and AOP. While Rollins invaded the
invaded where?
Invaded the fracas. He was still humiliated when Kevin Owens snuck out from behind the curtain and blasted him with a stunner. It was an act of blasphemy in some circles, but it was also its own declaration of non-compliance, defiance, and purpose. Some gospels are more direct than others.
Yep, especially when the team of the Street Profits come in to their aid. Oh, that was later. Oh, that's right. That's later. I kind of spoiled it. Oh, well. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Next, I thought that was the main event. I forgot about that part. See? That's why I like doing this, because we do forget some things. Mm-hmm. Next up, we have Ricochet. Well, actually, before that, it was actually the OC coming out to the ring saying that it would be phenomenal for AJ Styles to win that trophy going into Super Showdown. And it would be for the OC. But here's the thing. Since the OC won the tag team trophy gauntlet, it would be actually perfect if AJ Styles won that trophy so they can both showcase their trophies from Crown Jewel and Super Showdown when they're overseas and their shows are not on a Sunday but on a freaking other day. In which case, Ricochet comes in and saying that since he's also going to be a part of that match, actually no, he's not going to be. He's going to be facing Brock Lesnar for the WWE title. He's been questioned by the OCs to say that he is undeserving when he did earn it. So he issues a challenge to AJ Styles to put him to the test. Instead, Carl Anderson takes up the challenge instead, and then the match is pursued between Carl Anderson and Ricochet. In this match, we would have AJ Styles as well as Luke Gallows on ringside until they get involved and the referee doesn't see it, but he sees that Ricochet is injured and he goes ahead and tells him to shoot him in the back. Hit the showers, he says, as Mikey would say. Finally, it's a one-on-one match between Ricochet and Carl Anderson, in which case Ricochet wins with his finishing move, the 630 rotation splash. Yeah. I will say this much. I do not look forward to seeing Brock Lesnar just tear apart Ricochet. It's going to take a miracle for him to beat him. Plus, the match is already set. Brock Lesnar versus Drew McIntyre. If Ricochet does beat him, we could be looking at a triple threat. Here we go. Now it's the main event.
Now it's the main event. Kevin Owens and the Viking Raiders versus AOP and Murphy via disqualification. For Seth Rollins' movement to work, he claims the non-compliant must be eradicated. But despite the Monday Night Messiah's attempt to crucify Kevin Owens in the closing moments of Raw, his disciples found themselves surprised by the prophets, the street prophets, by prophets of a different kind. Rollins broke up a pinfall after Owens dropped Murphy with a stunner, which got his disciples disqualified and handed the win to the non-believers in a 6-man tag team match, and he followed up by having his minions hold Owens down for what he calls a crucifixion.
4-on-1, basically.
Instead, he was cast down by the arrival of the Street Profits, who overwhelmed the Messiah's men with the help of Owens and the Raiders. Raw ended with 2 dueling striking image, Montez Ford and Ivar, executing dueling frog splashes, and Rollins falling to his knees in anguish as his enemies grew and his followers felt the threat of his own eradication growing.
What?
Exponentially by the second.
Yeah, that's a tricky word. Mm-hmm. In which case, with Seth Rollins' plans gone awry and the rebellion part of the people that just don't like Seth Rollins increasing, Seth Rollins may most likely have new allies coming into the picture. Who? I don't know. I don't know. And while I look up NXT, my brother, would you please?
Go ahead, look up NXT while I do the shoutouts for the members of the Heavens Monsters podcast. Starting with myself, Xavier Hill, Mike Henry, and Andre Mitchell. A link to our 3 YouTube pages will be in the descriptions down below, as always. And a remaining shout out to Terrence, aka T-Money, Delvin, Renee, Pharaoh, and Chris Petrie.
Yeah, boy. In other news, we would have Keith Lee as well as Mark Henry on the WWE backstage. In which case, it was mostly love for the big guys. I thought it was going to be because of Black History Month, which is February.
Yep.
In which they were honoring that too. Oh, my dog is dreaming. It's so adorable. She's chasing something. There's my dog. Here's my chihuahua. So cute. They would talk about what... I'm surprised she's sleeping with us yelling. They would talk about their history and how they got to be where they are because people like them got a chance because bigger stars pulled them up. So they returned the favor. They always go to NXT. They always go to the Performance Center. They even go to other wrestling companies that are more of the training grounds for WWE and other wrestling companies. And they gave them a hand and a shout out. In which case, one other thing that was mentioned was that looking back at the current champion of the North American title, Keith Lee. And also looking back at the fact that the beginnings of the title, where it would be a 6-man ladder match, and the first ever champion would be none other than, I think Adam Cole, if I'm correct. Or was it Ricochet? I forget now. See, I wasn't paying attention to that part. What I was paying attention to was also the fact that they did mention this. Dream match. Would Keith Lee love to have a match with Roman Reigns. And he said, any good day he wants to. But there was one match. He did have a dream match, to have a match with Kurt Angle and King Corbin. Before he was King Corbin.
Baron Corbin.
Hey, so he's been called King Corbin. I forgot his first name. Thank you. Stole that from him when he retired. He had the last match at WrestleMania and retired Kurt Angle by beating him. Mm-hmm. So there were other names though. If Keith Lee was to have a one-on-one match with other superstars, he would not mind. So let's go ahead and now talk about NXT on February 19th. Velveteen Dreams interrupted the Undisputed Era, in which case he was saying that he was going to have fun mocking him, being Roderick Strong, and how, again, I don't know how this works. The freaking babyface is mocking the heel by having the images of the heel's wife and daughter on his freaking tights. That is a great show of disrespect, but also very, very creepy. Like, come on! This is a plot twist right here. Ultimately, knowing that the prophecy was still standing with Adam Cole, because he still had the piece of gold that mattered, and that was the NXT World Title. So with that said, it would be none other than Roderick Strong, who has a vendetta tonight against Velveteen Dream. Just checking if there's anything else. And here you go, my bro.
Next match is for the NXT Cruiserweight Championship between Jordan Devlin and Lio Rush. Jordan Devlin has the talent and a mean streak, and the combination is going to make it difficult for any challenger to take away his NXT Cruiserweight title. Mm-hmm. Lio Rush, who earned an opportunity at the Irish Ace by knocking off Angel Garza, found that out firsthand this week. The hard-hitting Devlin kept Rush on the mat for much of the bout, unable to get his offense off the ground. The man of the hour eventually broke through with a spectacular avalanche poison Rana, followed by the come-up, but Devlin managed to drape his right boot on the bottom rope during the ensuing pin. Rush didn't waver, taken to the top rope in a bid of the final hour, but the Irish Ace rolled out of the way, blasting Rush with a massive headbutt and the Devlin side. Devlin successfully finished off his foe. My take on that is, damn, I kind of feel bad for Lio Rush. But now he has to get in the back of the line, and who will be Devlin's next opponent for the NXT Cruiserweight title? We just have to find out.
Yeah, buddy. Next up, we have Tommaso Ciampa addressing Johnny Gargano's actions at TakeOver Portland. He was supposed to have this match with this guy who's apparently made his return to NXT. Where is it? Can we get a name for this guy? Not even that? Come on. What's the deal? Well, whoever this guy is, he was... Austin Theory. Oh, there you go. Why is that not highlighted? What the heck, WWE? Yeah. Anyway, with Austin Theory making his return to NXT, he was looking to have a victorious victory, but not with a sour grape Tommaso Ciampa, and rightfully so. He got screwed over by his former best friend. In which case, he says, not today. Not today. He goes and then states his statement to Johnny Gargano that he cannot have the NXT title, which he calls Goldie, with Johnny Gargano still living in NXT. So he plans on purging him sometime soon. That's when Austin Theory is sick and tired of listening to him, and he just assaults him, and then the match starts. Ultimately, you think the guy would have put up a good fight? No. He just gets knocked the hell out and put down by Tommaso Ciampa, and it looks like it's just another statement by Tommaso Ciampa to Johnny Gargano saying, "You're next." Next up,
the Grizz Young Veterans versus Raul Mendoza and Joaquin Wilde.
Can I set this up?
Yep.
First up, Joaquin Wilde as well as Mendoza are supposed to have a match on 205 Live on that Friday. In which case, we would have, and I watched this, I skimmed through it. That last week's episode of NXT UK, we would have the grizzled young veterans, that's what it's called, grizzled young veterans, actually state that they no longer have to deal with their general manager of the UK brand. Instead, they're going to William Regal because they feel like he appreciates the tag team division and themselves than their current roster. So they decided to move overseas into the NXT brand. There you go, bro. I hope I didn't mention that.
Tag teams of NXT, consider yourselves warned. The grizzled young veterans followed a dominant showing against the team of Raul Mendoza and Joaquin Wilde. In the emphatic warning, after finishing off Mendoza with a ticket to Mayhem, Zach Gibson announced he and James Drake would follow their impressive run through the Dusty Rhodes Tag Team Classic by taking over the Black and Gold brand's tag team division. Given what we've seen in recent weeks from the
where's that? Oh, that's a tricky one, but I remember it. Yeah. Inaugural
NXT UK Tag Team Champions. Who could argue otherwise?
Yep, and they do beat them too. That's what's interesting.
Mm-hmm.
Next up, we have the Tag Team Champions, the Broserweights. I'm about to say Bruiserweight. It's Broserweights. Bro. They then go on to take on Oney Lorcan and Danny Burch, and in a very, very interesting fashion, defeat the tag team that will be going on to 205 Live to battle Ari Daivari and D. Brian Kendrick in a no disqualification tag team match. Looks like they don't get the momentum going in for them, though, because the Bruiserweights prove why they're the tag team champions. Next up.
Ooh, let me take this one, because I can see Keith Lee's name.
That's what I figured.
Keith Lee versus Conan or it's probably a non-title match. I thought it was for the NXT North American Championship. The NXT faithful have often called for Keith Lee and Dominic Dojovic to fight forever, and they just might get their way. Keith Lee was set to address Full Sail after retaining his NXT North American title against the Rare Breed at NXT TakeOver Portland, but he was swiftly interrupted by the brass arrival of Kona Reeves' Big Mistake. Reeves was greeted with a massive pounce by the limitless superstar, who didn't take kindly to his company. In a matter of seconds, the bell sounded to kick off their match, and Lee finished the job immediately with the Big Bang Catastrophe.
Was it?
But
Dominic Dojovic.
But Don Dojovic didn't let Lee bask in the victory for long, saying he wasn't ready to move on despite not being able to dethrone the limitless one.
It sounds like he's a couple that didn't want to move. I don't want to move on from you.
No.
That was funny.
Lee said he'd be happy to take him on again if the Rare Breed could convince the NXT general manager William Regal to see things his way.
Next up, we have Selena Green.
Chelsea Green.
Thank you. I was about to say Selena. That don't sound right.
Yeah.
Chelsea Green going up against Caden Carter. And wait, what? Bianca Belair.
She calls out Charlotte.
Oh, yeah. I was right. Yeah, apparently Bianca Belair interrupts this match out of nowhere, doesn't interfere, to say the least. She doesn't attack anybody. She just quickly makes a statement during the match. They're literally fighting still. She's telling them to do y'all thing, but she calls out Charlotte Flair, like you said, and challenges her to a match. That means Charlotte Flair will make a return to NXT, and she will fight Bianca Belair. Ooh. She don't want to be left out. She wants to be sure that she can actually come to WrestleMania. Ooh, that would be interesting. A triple threat. You know, WrestleMania is known for triple threats. Come on. You know they are. But, nonetheless, Chelsea Green does get the win over Caden Carter. Representing Robert Stone's Corporation, whatever you call it. Here's the main event, bro.
The Velveteen Dream versus Roderick Strong. The Velveteen Dream didn't miss a beat in his first in-ring action in months, finally taking down Roderick Strong. But it was Strong, the Undisputed Era, ultimately having the last laugh and making Dream pay for his physiological warfare. Renewing their rivalry in intense fashion, the foes' tensions boiled over its vicious blows in the match's closing moments until Dream was able to spike Strong with the Dream Valley Driver, or DVD for short. With Dream poised...
DVD?
Yeah.
I had to click that for a second.
Initials,
We got a DVD right there.
With Dream poised to hit the Purple Rainmaker, the UE eventually disregarded Strong's edict to let him go it alone, appearing at ringside to momentarily occupy his Purple Highness' attention. But Dream would not be rattled on his night. Thwarting the Black and Gold Gang's attempt interference, he recovered quickly enough to hit Strong with a second DVD Dream Valley Driver to put him away, and in style, after a reveal of his latest sartorial speculate another pair of pants bearing a visage of Strong's wife.
He ripped his tights to reveal another pair of tights with his wife's face on the front of his crotch and the back. I was like,
However, the Undisputed Era descended upon Dream, and the scene quickly resembled little more than a back alley mugging. Dream left as a winner, but also suffered Strong's enough heartache as a parting gift.
Damn, he just got beaten down. How you feel about that, bro?
I feel that Roderick Strong crossed the line mentioning Velveteen Dream's wife.
Actually, it's the other way around.
Yeah.
Velveteen was mentioning his wife.
Yep.
Yep. And I think the word you were having trouble with is thwarting.
Thwarting.
Yes, pronunciation issues. Trust me, I have to practice.
Yep.
And Velveteen was a little iffy for me until you think about his song, Velveteen Dream. Hit it! That's how it goes. That's how I remember it. It's a theme song. But thwarting, that I remembered from watching all sorts of animes that had detective work. Routine. But yeah, that would be pretty much it. And going into this, my biggest take on all of this is knowing who the hell is going up against Adam Cole for the NXT title now. Especially at TakeOver. Who's going to take it? If it ain't going to be Tommaso Ciampa versus Johnny Gargano, since it's going to be them, they still haven't given us an idea. And Finn Balor had a promo saying that he took care of Johnny Gargano and that he's going to own NXT. So, what? Who is going to take the title? Overall, too, the only other thing it could take is Bianca Belair getting in the middle of someone else's match and challenging Charlotte Flair. She don't give a damn. You know she don't. So, who do you think is going to challenge for the NXT title? You can't think of anybody?
I can't think of anybody.
Me neither. So with that said, we'll be waiting on that little note. Until then, we also had a video on Twitter. They showcased it. Excuse me. By the Forgotten Sons. And they haven't gotten any airtime, but thanks to the fact that the grizzled young veterans did mention that they were saying to look out for have NXT tag team division, look out for them because they're looking to take it to the top and become the new tag team title champions. But the Forgotten Sons, case to the name, feels like they're being mocked because each and every one of them are war veterans. They joined the military in their younger days and are considered veterans, all three of them, and are looking to showcase these so-called young veterans. So manners are never to underestimate them, nor forget the Forgotten Sons. That's going to be good. That's going to be good. I'm going to see that. In which case, I think that'll be it, right?
Yeah, that's it.
All right. With that, ladies and gentlemen, if you like this video, give it a thumbs up. If you didn't, give it a thumbs down. Hit the subscribe button, like the content, and hit that notification bell for the next
Heaven's Monsters Podcast with SergDragon and myself, Xavier Hill, and we'll see you in the next video.
Peace.
Peace out, everybody.